The couple, Meg and Kayla, walk hand in hand while discussing their friend who just lost her boyfriend to another girl. They pass by a group of homophobic girls who mock them, and Kayla flips them off. One of the girls grabs Meg by the hair and throws her to the ground, while the rest of the group attacks her. Kayla runs to help Meg, shouting at the girls to stop, but one of them pushes her back, preventing her from helping. A year later, we see a nervous Meg who has just landed and is irritated to realize that Kayla is the one who came to pick her up. Meg and Kayla haven't seen each other since that night when Meg was beaten by the group of delinquents. After the incident, Meg and Kayla's relationship ended, and Meg distanced herself. Now they are meeting again a year later to attend the wedding of Lizzie, one of their best friends, to Dominic, Lizzie's fiancé, and the brother of Cam, another of Meg and Kayla's close friends. Upon arriving at their destination, Meg reunites with the rest of her friends, Lizzie, Cam, and another best friend, Ruth. Meg attends a small formal party with her friends, the groom's and bride's families, and they spend the night celebrating. The next morning, Cam wakes Meg up and tells her about a plan for a little getaway with the bride, as it would be the last day they would all spend together before Lizzie's wedding. The group of 5 heads to the docks and boards the old boat that Cam borrowed for their little adventure. Cam confiscates everyone's phones and pilots the boat quickly. Sometime later, they arrive at an island that Cam discovered with the help of the beach resort's assistant manager. Kayla is the first to get off the boat, and the others encourage Meg to do the same. As soon as the two get off, Cam quickly reverses the boat, and Ruth explains that they were only going to leave Meg and Kayla alone for a while so they could talk. Instead of talking, Meg and Kayla just sit there, doing their own things, while Cam, Lizzie, and Ruth wait on the other side of the island for the two exes to finish their supposed conversation. Cam goes diving and, while exploring underwater, finds a doll among some rocks. A shadow hovers over her, and she gets scared upon seeing a stingray. She resurfaces and returns to the beach. Meanwhile, Meg and Kayla decide to swim to the other side of the island, where the others are. Kayla tries to talk to Meg and apologize for getting her beaten up a year ago, as it was really her fault for provoking the delinquents when she shouldn't have. Meg is initially speechless, not really wanting to talk to Kayla after the traumatic event she endured because of her, but she soon gives in and finally responds. The conversation starts light, but they eventually put aside the awkwardness and close the distance between them. Meg and Kayla are so engrossed in their own world that they don't notice the impending danger lurking underwater. Meg and Kayla reach the other side of the island, where the others are, and decide to play a little prank. They hold hands as they approach their 3 best friends and ask Lizzie if she would agree to a double wedding. Cam and Ruth share in the happiness, and Lizzie, playing along, promises to talk to Dominic about it. Ruth is still dancing when she suddenly feels a pain in her leg. The others are confused as Ruth remains strangely silent, but this silence is soon replaced by a scream of pain as Ruth sees herself bleeding profusely. Meg and Cam immediately pull her to shore, and everyone is horrified to see that a small part of Ruth's leg is missing. Lizzie deduces that it was a shark and cries as she realizes that Cam brought them to shark-infested waters the day before her wedding. Cam asks her to calm down so they can help Ruth, asking for a scarf to wrap around her friend's leg. They carry Ruth to the boat, and Lizzie uses Cam's phone to call Dominic, asking for an ambulance to meet them at the dock. But there is no signal. Lizzie then starts the engine and drives the boat back to the dock. Cam grows increasingly worried as time passes while trying to help Ruth as much as she can, but Ruth has lost a lot of blood. If they don't get her to a hospital soon, she will die. Lizzie accelerates the boat, and Cam tells her to slow down, but Lizzie can't hear Cam's words clearly. The boat's hull collides with a reef, making a hole in the bottom. Meg tries to block the water from entering the boat, but can't. The fear and concern make everyone agitated, and Cam takes most of the blame, as she was the one who brought them to an unknown island. Cam lifts Ruth's leg while Kayla searches for life jackets on the boat. However, there is only one. Meg puts the life jacket on Ruth, and everyone gathers around her as the boat starts filling with water. Lizzie, on the other hand, remains seated in her place, eyes closed and singing to herself as panic sets in. Meg, Kayla, and Cam try to talk to her, but Lizzie is too scared to respond properly. Kayla then jumps into the open sea and helps Meg and Cam carry Ruth as the boat completely sinks, leaving them adrift in the middle of the open sea. Lizzie clings to Meg and accidentally pushes her underwater, making Meg relive the traumatic event she went through. Meg resurfaces, ignoring her own fear, and Lizzie apologizes. Kayla tries to call for help, but her soaked phone no longer works, and she throws it away in frustration. After some time, Kim almost drowns due to a cramp but manages to overcome it. Meanwhile, Meg reassures Lizzie, saying everything will be fine, and Lizzie decides to talk about the double wedding to keep her fear at bay. Cam then feels something on her leg and accuses Lizzie of kicking her, but Lizzie didn't kick her, and they are horrified to realize a shark is circling around them. Lizzie reassures them, saying the shark might just be curious. She explains how she used to watch shark documentaries with her dad, and that sharks probably get curious and investigate. However, Ruth is bleeding, and Meg knows this could be what is attracting the shark. Not wanting to take any risks, Meg tells Cam to grab the knife in case the shark gets too close. Cam notices that Ruth has been extremely still for a while. When they check on her, they fall into deep sadness and pain, realizing that Ruth has passed away. Cam struggles to stay strong, and seeing the blood still oozing from Ruth's leg, she suggests getting rid of the body as it could become a liability or put them in more danger. Kayla and Lizzie are upset at the idea of leaving their best friend behind, and they painfully say their goodbyes as their friend's body floats not far from them. The group is shocked when they see Ruth being devoured by the shark. Lizzie puts on the life jacket, and Cam suggests that one of them swim north to find someone on land and get help. Kayla decides to go, and Meg tries to tell her how she really feels, fearing she won't get another chance to confess her feelings. Once everyone is safe and sound, Kayla swims north. Meg, Cam, and Lizzie wait a long time, but as late afternoon approaches, Meg floats on her back and drifts a little away from Cam and Lizzie, who are arguing. Lizzie is worried about Kayla and wants to tell Meg the truth about her. Meg swims closer to the two, and Lizzie explains the truth that she didn't know because of what happened a year ago. Kayla had planned to propose to Meg on the night of the attack, but then Meg was attacked, and Dominic stole the moment by proposing to Lizzie. Meg is surprised to hear this and swims, hoping to follow Kayla and talk to her. Cam goes after her to stop her, unaware of the shark chasing them. Lizzie sees the shark following Cam and screams to warn her and also to distract the shark, but it's too late as the shark cuts Cam's arm, marking her after tasting human blood. Cam swims away from Meg to avoid putting her in danger and waits for the shark with a knife in hand, but she is unable to harm the creature, which unfortunately devours her. The two friends reunite, and Lizzie cries, regretting everything she said to Cam before the shark took her life. Meg, feeling the loss, hugs her. After a while, exhaustion begins setting in, but Meg suggests they swim a bit more to at least get closer to land. Lizzie advises that it's better to stay put so that when Kayla brings help, they would know where to find them. Just then, they see a yacht approaching. They scream desperately to get the passengers' attention, but the music on the yacht is too loud, and their cries go unheard as the yacht sails past. Lizzie is frustrated by the ignorance of the passengers, and Meg hugs her to calm her down. They float in the middle of nowhere until the sky darkens. To make matters worse, it starts to rain, and Lizzie jokes that she would be furious if she got struck by lightning. In the midst of the storm, they lose the float they were sharing, and Lizzie clings to Meg. After some time, the storm subsides, and the sea becomes calm again. Meg is floating on her back and falls asleep, but Lizzie wakes her up, startling her as she tries to stay afloat. Lizzie holds Meg and offers her the life jacket, but Meg refuses because Lizzie can't swim properly. Lizzie apologizes for the situation they're in, feeling responsible for allowing her friends to suffer, now that they've already lost two of their best friends, and there is still no sign of Kayla. Lizzie is afraid of losing Meg the same way they lost Ruth and Cam. After a while, Meg falls asleep from exhaustion, and Lizzie puts something in her pocket before hugging her tightly. When Meg wakes up, the sun is already rising, Lizzie is nowhere to be found, and Meg is wearing the life jacket that Lizzie had been wearing. Meg takes off the jacket and dives in, hoping to find Lizzie, but to no avail. She puts the jacket back on and looks at the sky, silently mourning another lost friend. Although she doesn't see what happened to Lizzie, it doesn't take long for Meg to realize that Lizzie sacrificed herself to keep her alive. Whether Lizzie simply drowned and sank or was devoured by the shark, Meg doesn't know and doesn't want to think about it. Meg decides that now that she is alone, she can't just stay put, waiting for the shark to attack her. Unfortunately, the shark comes straight for her, and when it shows its sharp teeth, Meg punches the shark's nose, as Lizzie had said her dad taught her, successfully warding it off for now. Meg laughs, realizing that Lizzie's advice worked, but she quickly quiets down when she sees that the shark has wounded her hand. She lifts the wound to keep the blood from entering the water and looks around for something that could help. She then sees a cluster of rocks in the middle of the ocean. Without thinking much, Meg takes off the life jacket and rubs her blood on it before throwing it as far away as possible to distract the shark. She then swims quickly toward the rocks while the shark follows the scent of blood on the jacket. However, it doesn't stay fooled for long and changes direction to chase after the young woman. Meg manages to climb onto the cluster of rocks before the shark reaches her, but the sharp rock cuts her leg. She takes off her shirt and wraps it around her hand, then just lies there with her injured hand in the water. Sometime later, the white cloth wrapped around her hand has turned red from the blood, which is attracting the shark's attention. Before it can reach her hand, Meg stands up and moves away. The sun is setting, and Meg realizes that the tide is rising. Additionally, the sharks, now 2 of them, are becoming increasingly aggressive. The tide continues to rise, and it won't be long before Meg becomes fish food. But to her delight, she sees Kayla returning with help. Though she worries about what action to take, the shark, seemingly realizing that its prey finally has a chance to escape, becomes even more aggressive and launches an attack. However, Meg jumps into the ocean before the attack, narrowly escaping the shark's teeth. As Meg swims towards the rescue boat, the shark swims quickly towards her to catch its prey. This time, fortunately, Meg reaches the boat, and Kayla helps her aboard, barely escaping the shark's sharp teeth. Kayla asks about Cam and Lizzie, and with a nod, Meg makes Kayla understand what has happened. Meg feels something in her pocket and pulls out the friendship bracelets that Lizzie had intended to give everyone at the wedding but never got the chance. Kayla hugs Meg, and she leans on her as they cry for the friends they lost on this tragic trip. So that's it. Hope you enjoy the story. Subscribe and press the bell icon for more videos.